Do you know what a CDO is worth? Nobody knows. It's the question of probably going to be the decade.
Right.
And Jim Cramer here is to help us clarify why there are no answers, why are all these question marks.
Okay, first, there's an amazing, we hear about all these foreclosures, but none of these pieces of paper have failed yet. So we don't really, in other words, let's say they're paying 7%. We haven't stopped getting the coupon yet, which therefore makes it kind of very difficult to say, well, it's not worth anything, because you get a coupon. Yeah. Secondly, it's not in anyone's interest to have these things to be marked. As long as everyone is in denial, everybody gets away. The moment we start putting numbers on things, there's going to be a lot of companies that are going to need to raise capital. Now, anybody who remembers the raising of capital that went on in 1990 knows that what you're doing when you get in these situations is the examiners come in. And the examiners basically want to close your bank and merge it. Here's what I think is going to happen because of the CDO issue. You're going to go to your bank, and it's going to be named XYZ Bank. You're going to go in that's on Friday, and then on Monday it's going to be ABC Bank because the examiners are going to start seizing things. This has been the pattern. It's in no one's interest to talk about that. It's in no one's interest to talk about what would happen if a mortgage insurer went under. It's in no one's interest to talk about a home builder going under. It's really important that anybody who says this stuff or talks about it be punished immediately. I know when I'm out there on this, I every day expect that someone is going to try to do what E-Trade did to me, which say, listen, you didn't try to call us for our opinion, which was untrue. I find that where we are right now is that it's imperative that the truth not be told. And whenever that's the case, there's going to be guys like me who are really trying to get at the truth. And the difficulty is that there are people who really do know. See, there are people who put together these CDOs. And there are people at the rating agencies who know what's in these things. This is not an unknowable thing. But the people who do know won't help.
John Thane, now he is up. He's going to be running Merrill.
Right.
He used to work at the mortgage desk at Goldman Sachs. Do you think he's someone who would know, who might kind of open would he be someone to disclose?
Well, I think he'd disclose if the people who knew the stuff would disclose with him. But you have to go, arguably you have to look at mortgage by mortgage by mortgage. You also have to look at there was a really interesting note from the company PMI, which said that in these mortgages, let's say 10 default, so there's a servicer, typically Countrywide comes in or Wells Fargo. They're trying to figure out which to go after first. So they look and see who has mortgage insurance, and they go after the mortgage insurance, the ones who are insured first. So therefore they go back to PMI. PMI is saying that's unfair. So it's all in flux. If PMI, if they get to cherry pick the bad loans, then I don't know how PMI doesn't have to raise more capital. But right now that's what they're doing. So you have the servicer. The servicers were not set up for default, so they have 1/10 the number of people they need. It doesn't generate revenue, so nobody really wants to be in that business. You can set it to someone else to do, but then the regulators are going to come after you if you really harass people. So, and all this was predicated upon the idea that no one would ever default on their home. So no one's set up for what's really happening. If John Thane wants to see what's in the CDOs, he has to have people assigned to see who's at 1401 Cromwell Road, who's at 3725 Paper Mill Road, who's at 98 Prospect. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to unpeel these things. Yeah. People do know. You'd have to go to Countrywide and say, okay, look, this CDO, you're the servicer on a lot of the CDO. Which ones are not paying? I don't know how you could possibly have the credit department that could possibly figure out. So even if Thane wanted to figure it out, I don't think you can unless everybody fesses up. And the mortgage insurers fess up, and the servicers fess up, and the people who put the piece of paper together, and the mortgage agencies. That's why I say when you get a failure, then then we're going to see what's inside. It has to die before anything. We need an autopsy of a CDO to figure out what's ailing a CDO.
Yes. All right. We need a martyr.
No, they'll be the people. These are not people who want to be martyrs. Believe me.
Thanks a lot, Jim Cramer. You're watching Wall Street Confidential on TheStreet.com TV. Stay tuned.